Welcome to Backyard Bows. Hey, welcome to Backyard Bows. I'm Brandon, and today we got Elite's budget bow, and we got the Basin. We'll talk about the terrain and the Basin because they are so similar. But I kind of feel bad because I probably should have done these last year in 2022. They were on my list in the beginning, on my lineup, and then they got lost in the mix somewhere. And I was in the shop getting the Era the other day, and I was like, man, I really need to do a budget bow from Elite because they are such fantastic bows for the price. And the only difference between the Basin and the Terrain is the Basin is a dual cam system, the Terrain is a hybrid cam system. Everything else on the bow is the exact same almost. The specs vary a little bit, and so does the price. So the Basin at $599, it's like a nice, perfect, a little bit more expensive than some of the ones that we've seen from Bear, but with what you're getting, and we'll talk about that in a second, I think it's well worth the extra $100. $699 for the Terrain, but if you do want this package, they call it a ready-to-shoot package from Elite, it is the best, I personally think. I think the Mission was up there, but I think this is one of the best ready-to-hunt packages you can get on the market, and it's about $130 value, and it just adds $100 to the price tag, so it goes from $599 to $699. The Basin, I love the specs on this bow. 32 and 3/8 axle. The axle, it has a 6.6 inch brace height. It shoots 315 on the IBO, which is the exact same from the Amazon bow that we did last week, the Tidewee. It goes from 20 all the way out to 70 on the draw weight, that's an awesome variation of draw weight, so that if you're beginning, maybe younger, you want to grow with the bow, that's a great option. That's a huge fluctuation of draw weight. Same with the draw length. It goes from 16 out to 30. So again, nice wide variety of both of those. My favorite part about these two bows is you got a machined riser, you got aluminum limb pockets, you got aluminum cams, you got aluminum mods. Everything on this bow is not budget except for this sliding cable guard. Everything else is top notch. You got stainless steel cam bearings, you got winner choice strings. Again, this thing has a lifetime warranty and that hunter guarantee that Elite does. So again, for $599, honestly, I don't think you can beat it. You add the extra $100 for a couple of these accessories that you get on here. The only thing that I change is I got a quad rest on here, but it comes with a whisker biscuit. So everything else, and I don't have the quiver on here, but it is a really nice ready to hunt package. This is also the same kind of string and cable system we saw on that Tidewee as well. Nice and simple, easy to work with, easy to tune time. And again, I kind of feel bad. I wish I would have done one last year because I think it would have crushed that budget bow category. But as we know with Elite, I think we're gonna see the Basin and Terrain for the next couple years. I don't think they have any plans to kind of change some of these. And we see, even with their flagship bows, they make minor changes, and they're just now starting to put out bows a little bit more frequent. But they kind of sit back and let their bows sit, which I like. They're not making tons of changes every 2-3 times a year, and putting out new bows constantly. So again, I think they have a great product here. We'll probably just see these kind of sit right where they are. I think the Terrain was new to last year, and the kind of predecessor to this was the Ember, which stuck around for a while as well. So you got the Vibex blocks. I think the major differences, like I said, with the cam systems between the Terrain and the Basin, the Terrain I think has a 7-inch brace height, might be a little bit more forgiving. It only adjusts from 25.5 out to 31, and then it gets 325 on the IBO, so it has a 10 feet per second increase there, but very, very similar bows. Everything else on them is the same except the cam system. So let me set this up. We'll do our single shot assessment in here, and then we'll get outside and we'll have some fun and fling some arrows. So I love that Elite, has the lifetime guarantee. They have the hunter guarantee on all their bows, not just their flagship bows. To me, I think they're pretty confident in their products that they put out, and I think that's just kind of as a company standpoint, with the feel I get from them is that they're just confident. They make some great quality stuff. The finishes on these bows, even though they're the budget ones, are almost the exact same as the flagship bows. I mean, these are just, like I said, I think the only thing on here is that cable guard, which if you get a used bow or even one of these that have a cable guard with that kind of plastic piece that slides, and I actually learned this from one of you, the viewers, but if it starts to stick and rub, just take a little piece of newspaper like this and you want to rub it up and down. You can repress those cables, get them out of the way, rub this side. And if you rub that newspaper all over that cable guard, that rod, it'll smooth out. So when I first got this one, it was sticking and I was kind of like prejudging that draw cycle. I remember running that newspaper on that rod and it just smoothed out completely. So let's go. We'll do a couple shots here inside. So I'd say it has like a little hump right in the middle. It's a fairly smooth transition into the back wall. It's not the smoothest. It kind of lets go and has a, you know, has a generous valley to it, but it's a nice easy pull. You know, a little hump there, and then it kind of snaps back on you. It balances nice. Man, all of Elite's bows, to me, all of them kind of have a nice back wall, nice balance to them. You know, the only thing, you go from those flagship bows, and there's obviously a lot more, this isn't the only thing, but one of the main things that you're getting, paying that price point for Elite's flagships, is that set technology, which I think is just, that's an awesome addition to your bow if you're kind of somebody who likes to work on your bows at your home and a little bit more hands-on. But everything else, this is top of the line. And I know I've mentioned it a couple times, but this sight, I think for a budget bow package, this sight is one of the best ones you can get. It's a CBE Micro Tactic. I use this in a lot of my reviews. It's just a nice little solid sight. I hunted with it a little bit this year, but to get that in a ready to hunt package for $6.99, you get this entire bow fully set up. I think it's one of the best ready to hunt packages on the market for the value. Let's do one more and then we'll get outside and we'll sling a whole bunch. So a little bit of vibration in the hand. What we do have for this review that we added in throughout this past week, I just got one in the mail, but we got something to kind of measure those decibel readings and kind of see how loud this bow is. I don't, you know, again, we'll start today and we'll do each bow from here out and we'll be able to start comparing them. But I feel like this one does have a little pop to it, a little bit of vibration in the hand. It sets up and holds nice. The draw cycles, obviously, it's not my favorite, but it has a nice back wall. It wants to jump a little bit on you, but again, quality, durability, man, you cannot beat this. I'll do one more and then we'll get out there. I like the hold though. The hold's really nice. All right, let's start slinging some. We call it the Freestyle Shoot. We'll shoot all day. We'll do the first shots on camera for the viewers. We'll shoot from up here. I built like a little box here, elevated, so I can clear this railing, giving that downward angle as if you were in a tree stand on a couple 3D targets, one at 30, two at 35, and then when we go to the gazebo and shoot across, ranges all the way from 20 out to 50, and we'll shoot all day. Let's start here. We'll start with the bore. So even with me sliding that newspaper on that rod, still sometimes these things get sticky, you know, and I think that really can make a little grinding feeling to that draw cycle at different parts of your draw cycle, and that's kind of what I'm feeling. But I think it's, you know, the cable guard, sometimes that little plastic piece can just kind of stick and jerk on there from time to time. But the draw cycle, man, it's all over the place. So last week with the tide weed that I kept saying it was real linear, this is not. You know, it starts off, kind of eases up, and then you have another little hump at the end, and it feels like it's a little sticky all the way through. So let's go to the buck at 35. I would say it holds nicer and nicer as I shoot it. I think all Elites from this year, I think I liked the hold on every single bow that I've shot from them, and we just got the Era in, which I'm so excited about, that first carbon bow by Elite. But this kind of is the bow all the way on the lowest part of the totem pole, and it still has a really nice hold. Man, that's just, these feel good when they come off here too. The shot cycle is way cleaner than the draw cycle. Let's go last buck. We'll shoot one more on that one as well and try to inch our way over to that heart. but everything else on it is quality as you can get, and I think it's probably my favorite ready to hunt package you can get as well. It comes with a whisker biscuit, which, you know, if you've watched my videos, I don't mind. I shot one for years. I like this little stabilizer. It has a couple weights on the front end that you can change in and out. And then the sight is my favorite ready to hunt sight you can get, the CVE Micro Tactic. I think it's one of the best inexpensive sights, fixed pin sights that you can get on the market. And then it comes with a nice elite quiver. So I changed out the whisker biscuit for that quad rest, and man, this is a wonderful setup. Let's go over and we'll shoot some longer range shot from the gazebo. So I know there's some of you out there that are probably like, shut up and shoot. So that's what we'll do at the beginning of this part. We'll go right up the ladder: turkey, coyote, buck, gray wolf, bear. We'll do the full draw stall on the small bear, and then we'll go up to the elk, all 5-yard increments, going from 20 up to 50. Now we'll go to the coyote, which is at 25. It's like this bow was not intended. It's like 70 pounds is all at the top end, 30 inches is all the way at the top end. It's like this bow was intended for maybe a younger shooter. That's my assessment. It's like, man, the draw at this draw length and 70 pounds, it's brutal, but I'll talk about that from time to time as like the intent of the product. Like, they had a mission. My assessment of this is two things. One, you want to buy a nice quality bow for that younger hunter to get started, he can grow with it. Second, if you're the type of person that wants to get into hunting, you're older, you like good quality things, quality is important to you, but you're not 100%, you're on the fence, maybe about if hunting, shooting is something that you're going to want to continue, and you're not sure you want to invest $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 bucks, I think this is the best option. Or the terrain. I mean, highest of quality for the best of price. Let's go buck. Man, this thing's poking though. I mean, the shot cycle feels good. The arrows coming off here feel good. The draw cycle to me is like one of the harshest. I mean, it goes up. It's all over the place to me, and it kind of grinds out a little bit. Let's go. A couple points. It feels like you're like grinding through it. And again, I know I can't see it because I'm focusing on the target, but I think that this thing is just getting stuck. And I tried to do that little newspaper trick, and it did smooth it out for a second, but I feel like it's starting to stick again. So let's go to the gray wolf at 35. Right there, it kind of, but man, you can see quick release. I'm dialing in really, really quickly. Yeah, the hold on this is nice. All elite bows, I just love the hold on. Okay, so now on to that black bear, which is at 40, and then we'll do Paddington for the full draw stall, the smaller black bear, which is also at 40. And then once we get done, we'll go up to that elk at 50. We'll shoot a whole bunch. We'll go in at the end of the day, we'll do the speed test, which I'm excited to see. You got 315 on the IBO last week, 315 with the Tidal Wee. Let's see how they compare. And then we also, for the first time, per your request, we got a decibel reader so we can kind of start measuring the, the loudness of each bow, which I'll talk more in just a second. Let me shoot one on that bear. Let me shoot one more. That one was a little low. But the decibel reader, we got 3 different ones. We tested all of them. We got some that are portable that we can bring outside, which is going to be cool because we can set them, we can get the reading of the bow up here, and then we can get the reading at different depths and kind of see how much that decibel reader lessens per, kind of the distance as you get farther away. And then we have a stationary one that's on the wall inside, which we'll show you in a second, and that one is the one that we'll do the grading with, and that'll kind of factor in the score that we'll keep is that one inside. It seemed to be the most consistent. They're a little bit They vary from each other just a hair, but that one seemed to be like right on with consistency. So that's the kind of one we kept for the that kind of final reading that we compare from bow to bow. Let's go one more on that black bear. And the only thing I would say, and again, it's going to be cool now to be able to see with that decibel reading, I would say this bow is on the louder side. And so no matter what, if my reading compares to the guy at Mike's Archery's reading, I think it being as consistent as it is, we'll at least get a good depiction from bow to bow to bow, you know, and we'll get that Matthews Phase 4 back in here, and we'll, you know, do a test, the decibel reading with it as well. But let's go. We'll do one on the little black bear. We'll do a 1 minute hold, and then we'll try to get one shot on that little bear, full draw stall. That's actually a really well-placed shot, even though I felt like I was moving around and it was starting to want to creep on me just a little bit, and I had to kind of readjust, but that actually ended up being a nice place shot. So, all right, so now we're set up on the elk up at 50. I'll shoot at this thing all day. From here, you can really see on a bow that gets like a 315 IBO, you know, that's when those pins start to really separate on a fixed pin sight, and you really start to get a little arc, and those things kind of sink in there. But let's go. We'll fling one up there. Yeah, I know I keep talking about that decibel reader, but from the beginning to this point, it's really just been my opinion, you know, what I felt was loud. And I guess that there's multiple variables that take into effect on what I feel that day with wind and sound, and if it's inside or outside. But I like that we finally went and got a tester and we can factor that in. And we're always looking to improve at Backyard Bows what we can do. And if there's suggestions from you guys, and there has been multiple that we've taken it to consideration and factored into our test. So if there's something we can do, we just got an email from one of you last week. We appreciate the email, the feedback. It had tons of good information. This person seemed to have a lot of knowledge on, you know, the chronograph, the decibel reader, and just kind of gave some really good insight to some of that and some of the things that we can do on our end to make our readings more accurate. I love that. I appreciate that. So again, always leave it in the comments, email us, let us know. We're me and Kyle, we work as hard as we do, but we're also very humble, and we're learning as well. And we know there's room for improvement. And I think from, you know, we don't plan on stopping. So if along the line you feel like we could be doing something better, give us a shout. Let's go back up to the elk. That was a little quicker shot. We'll do another one with a little bit of less hesitation. I do like the hold on this. The more I shoot, the more it gets, I feel like it's a little one to creep, gets a little jumpy. The back wall's not as solid as I first thought. Not nearly as bad as like the Mission by Matthews, but I mean, it does want to jump on you a little bit. Let's do one more on that elk. I think my favorite part so far is just the quality, the package deal. Again, I don't think you can beat it. I do like the hold. The draw cycle is probably one of my least favorite that we've done. And I don't know why. It's just not, like I mentioned, the tidal wheel was very linear. This is the complete opposite. It starts off heavy, smooths out, has a nice hump, and then kind of jerks at the end. It's all over the place. But I do like the hold. The quality's great. The loud and vibration, or is that of a budget type bow? You know, it's a good amount of vibration in the hand, and I feel like, and I keep saying this, I feel like it's loud, but we will see. So this week we're not gonna have anything to compare it to, but next week when we do our next review, we'll be able to look back and kind of see how these compare. So we'll shoot all day, and then we'll circle back this evening. All right, on to the speed test. I actually like that we did the tide weed with the same IBO 315 as this Basin. So we have, you know, it's so recent. I have some good comparison memory of both of these. And I think the question is an IBO calculator that you use online always correct? Or as you fluctuate that arrow weight, can some bows, in my opinion, and my theory is that some bows are stronger than others, maybe in the limbs. I don't fully know where it is, but some don't always add up exactly with the IBO calculator. So the Tidewee, it should have been around 163 on the calculator, but it was more in the 175s, or like right in that mid 170. And then everybody always blames it on the chronograph being shot inside. But so here we go, same conditions. Almost exact same time of day we did the review. I got the blinds closed, we got the lights on. Everything is the exact same. 70 pounds, 30-inch draw, 80% let off, 500 grain arrow. This should get around, as the calculator says, maybe 163. So let's go. We'll shoot a couple. 164, or 264, I'm sorry, I said 164. 264, so that's right on the money that the IBO calculator says. So I think this chronograph setup in here, just like it is, I think it's on the money. A lot of people say, man, it won't get an accurate reading until you move it outside. I think this one is fine just like it is. And if nothing else, it's a little bit of variance, but we can at least compare bows to bows, especially since we do them all the same here. And everybody's chronographs vary a little bit. So just remember that. Every condition, everywhere it's a, you know, it's such a touchy, sensitive piece of equipment that it's all gonna vary some. So either the Tidewee has a little bit more strength, you know, it keeps its feet per second as you bump up that arrow weight. It is my assumption. So in this one is kind of right where it should be in that low 260. So that's 263. So the calculator online, that is exactly what it suggested this bow would get. Let's do one more, and then we'll shoot that 440 grain arrow. So that's 266, so right in there. So that's 6 out of 10 for the speed test. Anywhere from 660 to 660, or 260 to 269. Sorry, I'm fumbling these numbers. It gets 6 out of 10. So now let's do a 400 spine full metal jacket. This one's right around 440 grains. And we'll shoot this one a couple times just so you guys can have a little bit of comparison. So that's almost 280, 279. And again, I would say this bow, this 400 spine, maybe a 340 spine, but this arrow weight is perfect for this for hunting. And 280 feet per second is my ideal feet per second. I think I've said that in the beginning, but that's kind of the perfect bow hunting feet per second to me, 282. That's awesome. So I think that one's right on the money, nice and consistent, right in there. The Tidewee, same feet per second on the IBO. It was a little bit quicker. So our first decibel reading. So here's what we're gonna do. We have a decibel reader up here on the wall, which you're gonna be able to visually see, which is what we will take kind of the comparison off of, kind of for the viewers. But also here on my phone, I downloaded a decibel meter app that was just free, and it will keep track of from bow to bow to bow to bow, and it'll give us like a nice little graph that we can keep in our file, which we can go back and compare to if we need to. These will vary slightly, obviously being different decibel readers, but I like that we have a graph to go back on here, and then I like that you guys can visually see what's going on up here. So one thing that we are going to do is keep everything the exact same. So the same specs for the speed we'll do for the decibel reading. Another thing that we did is we moved the bag outside of the garage. We're going to reverse and kind of shoot back this way. I couldn't tell 100% if this was picking up the arrow hitting the bag or the bow. So we kind of moved the bag outside of the garage, opened up the door, and got it farther away. And the only other thing that we're going to do is we're going to kind of dress down the bow a little bit. We'll take off the stabilizer and shoot the bow as bare as we can. Obviously different stabilizers, different dampening mechanisms will kind of quiet that bow a hair, and we want the most accurate reading as possible. So we'll go 3 arrows. .3. 90.9. 91.5. So another thing that take in mind, like if you go to Mike's Archery, he uses one that he probably got off Amazon, the little microphone, kind of portable handheld one. That one's gonna vary a little bit from these, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and keep all of our variables in-house the exact same so that when we do compare bow to bow to bow, we can do it amongst the bows that we've reviewed, maybe not to other people, just like the chronograph. Everything varies a little bit depending on the lighting, the circumstances, stuff like that. But in-house, everything will be the same, and I think we'll get an accurate depiction bow to bow. All right, so Basin by Elite, first budget bow from Basin that we've got, or budget bow from Elite that we've gotten here. I apologize again. I had planned on getting, I think I actually had originally wanted the Terrain, but I think this with the package, this is more of their budget bow. I think the Terrain is in that same category, but I think this is kind of the lowest end bow that you can get from them, and it's still just fantastic quality, which we'll go over in a second. But 265, I think it averaged, so we got 6 out of 10 for the grading. We switched up the speed, so we got 10 feet per second increments. Anywhere from 260 to 269, you get 6 out of 10. If you get 300 or above, that's the full 10 out of 10, and that's kind of how we're doing things going forward. Quality, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I think the only thing that's even budget type on this is the cable guard. Everything else on it is almost the exact same as their flagship bows, the highest of quality. I think Elite really makes some great quality stuff. And it's incredible to see that all the way on the lower end of the spectrum down here on their budget bows where it still looks and feels like a flagship bow. Appeal, 9 out of 10. I love the way Elite I love their style. It's really nice clean lines. Everything looks really sleek on these bows. They all kind of have that similar look like we talk about from company to company, and I think Elite recently has really been one of my favorite companies on just the appeal of the bow. They are just some of the cleanest finished, cleanest bows that you can get. I love their attention to detail. Everything just kind of goes perfectly with each other. Then we go technology. Technology is something that I kind of told myself I wanted to be a little bit stricter on this next year and reward where it's deserving, and then some of the bows that are a little bit more basic, don't give them as much reward. So all Elite's flagship bows seem to be on the really high end of the technology, some of them getting 10 out of 10. I'm sure the Era next week, I can already tell you it'll get a 10 out of 10 on technology with the set technology, the carbon riser, all that good stuff. These basic bows are these budget bows from them. The Basin and Terrain are very basic. Nice quality, but as basic as you can get with the technology part. I do like the fluctuation of weight and draw length. I think that's nice, but I think the rest of the bow is as basic as you can get. 6 out of 10 on technology, and then I gave it a 7 out of 10 on performance. So the performance is the other thing that I'm gonna be a little bit more strict on. I think this shot very similar to the Tide Wee last week. I think I shot well with both of them, but at times you saw a little bit of instability. I think the back wall, it's lacking on this bow. It kind of does want to jump on you a little bit and kind of ride you, especially in that full draw stall, which I did place a nice shot, but I could tell it was kind of wearing on me as the minute wore down. So I love Elite all around. I like that they keep things simple. They don't have an absolute ton of bows to pick from. They make changes where they need to, but not a ton of them. I love the technology that they have on their flagship bows. I love the quality of these budget bows. Elite is one of my favorite companies, if you haven't noticed. I love where they're going. I always say this, but if Elite advertised like Matthews, they'd be the top bow company. I'm telling you, they make some great quality stuff. You go 36 times 2 gives it a 72, plus 3 for the makeup points for the price. It is $599, $699 all dressed up. Even the Terrain is $699 as is. Anything under 100, we give you 3 extra makeup points. So 75 out of 100, great score for the Basin, first budget bow from Elite. If you haven't yet, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, follow along. We got tons of bows out, check them out. Follow us also on Instagram. You can get any updates on the next bows that we're gonna do and any videos that we're gonna drop. Above all, make sure you get your reps in. We'll see you next Saturday.